Hello, welcome to Basics of Finite Element Analysis. In the last lecture, we have developed expressions for approximation functions corresponding to a two-noded linear element psi 1 and psi 2. And these approximation functions look like these relations: psi 1 x equals x b minus x divided by x b minus x a, where x b and x a are the coordinates of the for the eth element, and psi 2 is equal to x minus x a divided by x b minus x a. I would like to make couple of comments about these approximation functions. The first thing is that these functions are good for linear elements. Two-noded linear elements. If it is a quadratic function, then our element has 3 points. So, we will need psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, but using similar development process, we can calculate those functions as well. If it is a cubic element, then we will have 4 such functions, but the process is same. So, that is one thing. The second thing is, let us consider this as my eth element. Okay. The coordinate of the first node, so this is node 1, this is node 2. The first node, its coordinate is x a, the second node, its coordinate is x b. If I plot psi 1, what you will see is at x is equal to 0, I am sorry, at x is equal to x a, which is the first node, the value of this psi function is 1. So, this is 1, and at the second node x b, this value it becomes 0, right. When x is equal to x b, psi 1 becomes 0. So, this looks like this, and this height of this function is 1. So, this is my psi 1. The second function is similar, but it moves in a different way. So, it is 0 at the first node and it is 1 at the second node. Okay. And this feature is something you will see again and again in quadratic elements. You will have 3 functions psi 1, psi 2 and psi 3. Psi 1 will be having a value of 1 at the first node and it will have a value of 0 at second and third nodes. Psi 2 will have a value of 1 at the second node and it will have a value of 0 at first and third nodes. And psi 3 for a quadratic element will be 1 at the third node and it will have a value of 0 at node number 1 and node number 2. We will actually see that later also in detail. So, this is important to note. At this point of time, I will also introduce 2 different coordinate systems. So, one is global coordinate system and the other one is local coordinate system. So, suppose this is the length 0 to L. Okay. So, here x is equal to 0 and I am breaking, and this is x equals L, and let us say I am breaking this domain into lot of elements. And let us say the length of each element is H E, and let us say this location is x A, and this location is x B. So, these are x A and x B, they are with reference to global coordinate system. My local coordinate system, it has a origin, my local coordinate system, its origin is at the first node of the eth element, and I will call that coordinate as x bar, just to differentiate x bar. Okay. So, my global coordinate system is x, my local coordinate system is x bar. In my global coordinate system, when x is equal to x A, in my local coordinate system x is equal to 0. Okay. In my global coordinate system, when x is equal to x B, locally it is H E. Also, x B minus x A equals H E. In my global coordinate system, the displacement of first node of eth element is U1 U A E, right. If it is node A, here I just call it U1 E. This is U of point B for eth element, this is U2 E. Same thing for Q's, QA, QB, here I call it Q1 E, Q2 E, and so on and so forth. Most of the computations when we do at element level, we do not use the global coordinate system, we use the local coordinate system. Okay. In a global coordinate system, psi 1 E we had calculated was x B minus x divided by x B minus x A. In local, it psi 1 E, which is the approximation function, this equals 1 minus x bar over H E. In global, my psi 2 equals x minus x A divided by x B minus x A. In local, it is equal to psi 2 E equals x bar over H E. Okay. And E is the eth element. If there are total number of n elements overall, and there are all of these are linear elements, then total number of nodes globally it will be how much? N plus 1. So, I will make it chota n, small n. But number of nodes locally, there are n elements, each element has 2 nodes, then there will be 2n elements. Okay. Also for the eth element, x A, which is the global coordinate, it corresponds to x E, where E is the eth element, and x B is equal to x E plus 1, right. Here this is global, and then local you have x bar is equal to 0, here x bar is equal to H E. So, you have a global coordinate system, and this global coordinate system comes into play when we are doing the assembly of the whole system. At the element level, we are we stick to local coordinate system because it is easier. We do not have to track coordinate of each element with respect to the origin, that we can save that information in our code somewhere else. But when we are doing integrations and all that, the only thing we are worried about is the length of the element HE. Okay. So, it makes mathematics simpler and easier and faster. Couple of the other points, these elements, these functions, whether they are in local or global, we derived these functions based on what? Considerations related to displacements only. We did not derive them based on considerations related to derivatives of the displacement. We only considered displacements, right? We only considered displacements. We did not consider derivatives of displacement. So, such functions, so first thing is that these are known as interpolation functions. In general, we have been using the term approximation functions. Here we use these functions to interpolate the value of displacement between two nodes. That is why they are known as also we can use the term approximation function, but in context of FEA at element level they are more popularly known as interpolation functions. And because these functions were derived based on considerations of only the primary variable, not its derivatives, they are known as that they belong to Lagrange family, Lagrange family of interpolation functions. Okay. Here the consideration was only primary this variable, not its derivatives. Okay. So, these could be Lagrange family of interpolation functions, they could be linear in nature, quadratic, cubic and so on and so forth. So, these functions are very popular in second order differential equations, okay, because in second order differential equations when we weaken the continuity, we need only first order derivatives, C0 continuity is only needed. Okay. Then there are functions, there is another class of functions known as Hermite or Hermitic. Family of Hermitic family of interpolation functions, and these functions are developed not only on considerations of primary variable, but also its derivatives. These types of functions are very popular when you are trying to solve fourth order equations, for instance beam. There you are not only worried about the deflection, but also about slopes. For instance, slope at x is equal to 0 on a cantilever, fixed end is 0, right. So, you are not only interested in ensuring that the function itself is continuous over the entire domain, but you also want the slope should be continuous over the domain, okay. Slope has to be continuous over the entire domain. So, those are Hermitic family of interpolation functions. We will look at these functions maybe next week, but today and this week we will only work on Lagrange family of interpolation functions. Okay. Suppose our element was not linear, but it was a quadratic element. Let us say its length is HE of each element. So, we have looked at linear elements, right. Let us say now in another case we want that our interpolation function or the shape function is quadratic in nature, which means that u varies quadratically over the length of each element. Suppose we want to make that assumption. So, my first node So, it will have 3 nodes. First node's location in local coordinate system will be 0, x bar equals 0. Then, so this is node 1, this is node 3, this is 2. Overall length is HE, so this is x bar is equal to HE, and let us say the location of second point is at x bar equals alpha HE, where alpha is less than 1, some fraction. If it is perfectly located in the middle, then alpha will be half. So, then how will you derive the interpolation functions? So, we will develop these interpolation functions, and because this is a quadratic element, it has 3 nodes, and the interpolation functions will be 3 in number, psi 1, psi 2, psi 3, and we want to know what are the exact functions. So, we just assume a general form psi 1 x equals a plus bx plus cx square. This is the first approximation function. Psi 2 x is equal to d plus ex. So, I have to put a bar here because now I am in local coordinate system, plus f x bar square, and psi 3 x. So, again there is bar here, this equals f g h I. I will use k plus l x bar plus m x bar square. So, we do not know what are the values of a, b, c, d, e, f, k, l, m, right, and we have to figure it out. But we also know that the value of u over the element, it varies, and it can be written as u e j psi j x, j is equal to 1 to 3, right, because there are 3 functions. So, very much similar to what we did in the last case, we will develop conditions. We have to develop 9 different equations, so that we can find these 9 unknowns a, b, c, d, e, f, k, l, m. Okay. So, the first condition is that at x is equal to 0 or x bar equals 0, which is this location node 1. What is the displacement, or what is the value of primary variable? u1, u1e, u0 is equal to u1e, and this is equal to u1 psi 1 at 0 plus u2 psi 2 at 0 plus u3 psi 3 evaluated at 0, and of course, I have to put a superscript e for the eth element, suppose. Okay. Now, this relation is valid for all values of u's, does not matter what values of u1, u2, u3 are, but it is valid for all values of u's. So, I get 3 different relations. So, this is possible only if psi 1 at 0 equals 1, psi 2 at 0 equals 0, psi 3 at 0 equals 0, which means 1 equals a, and in this case I am going to put in this equation psi 1, this is the relation for psi 1. So, this is equal to a plus b x bar is local and the value of x bar is 0. So, 0 plus 0, second equation is 0 equals d plus 0 plus 0, third equation is 0 equals k plus 0 plus 0. Okay. So, I right away get 3 unknowns. Then I do the, so this is first condition. What is the second condition? That at x is equal to or x bar equals alpha times HE, this is the second condition. U of alpha HE is equal to U to E, and this is equal to U1 psi 1 alpha HE plus U2 psi 2 alpha HE plus U3 psi 3 alpha HE, and again I have to put superscripts everywhere. So, my second, this is going to be possible only if psi 1 E at alpha HE, when I calculate that, is equal to 0, right. Psi 2 E alpha HE is equal to 1 and psi 3 E at alpha HE equals 0. So, these are the second three conditions. So, I have three equations here, I have three equations here, and similarly I will have a third condition, that at the third node I will get three more equations. So, in this way I get 9 equations, 9 unknowns, I can solve them, and eventually what I get is that psi 1 E, which is a function of x bar, equals 1 minus x bar over h times 1 minus x bar over alpha HE. I don't know, you have to check that, okay. Psi 2 E of x bar equals 4 x bar over HE 1 minus x bar over HE, and psi 3 x is equal to minus x bar over HE into 1 minus 2 x bar by HE, and I think these relations are valid. So, there is a 2 here when alpha is equal to half, if the midpoint is located in the center, okay. And if you plot these, suppose your, this is x bar equals 0, x bar equals HE, here x bar equals HE over 2, and your y axis, that is your y axis, and this is 1. Then your first function psi 1 varies like this. Psi 2, it varies like this, and psi 3 will vary like that. So, that is my psi 3, this is my psi 2. So, once again you see that these shape functions, 5 minutes bacha hai. These shape functions are having a value of unity at specific nodes, and at other nodes they are 0, at other nodes they are 0. So, very quickly we will cover these properties. Properties of the first thing is that the value of psi I at the location j, jth node. So, this is the coordinate of jth node, this is ith function. Okay. So, the value of ith function at jth node is equal to Kronecker delta ij, where Kronecker delta equals 1 if I equals j and it is 0 if I does not equal j. This is important thing. So, this concludes our discussion of interpolation functions, and in the next class what we will do is we will use these interpolation functions to develop element level equations, and once we have developed those element level equations, then we will actually assemble those equations. So, now we will start looking at all the nitty gritty details of FEA. So, thank you very much, and we look forward to meeting tomorrow.